I'm sitting here with Christian Finn from Microsoft, and we have just a few questions for you for CMS Wire. We enjoyed your keynote speech yesterday, and we're looking forward to hearing about the great things that you have coming out for Microsoft. The first question we have for you, SharePoint 2010 is said to be Microsoft's most successful platform. Why do you think it has taken such a hold in enterprise?
SharePoint it's the fastest growing super product in Microsoft history. I think it's the fastest growing product for a couple of reasons. One, it provides tremendous end user value, and for IT, a lot of integrated capabilities. So you want to do collaboration and teamwork with SharePoint, you can do that. You want a portal to run your intranet, you can do that. You want to run your entire intranet site, your public web presence, you can do that, all in the same technology base with the same skill set. And your users, they learn how to update their team sites the same as updating, the marketing pages on their public website, that whole gamut of things, right? So that tremendous combination of capabilities and end user value, I think, is what makes us grow.
Okay. And what do you see as SharePoint's strongest capability?
We're pretty well established in a number of different markets, so I don't think I can choose just one. We're very strong in collaboration and social computing for sure, something we're highlighting here at this show at Enterprise 2.0. But enterprise content management, lots and lots of companies rely on us for that functionality. And powering the intranet, there's a group called the Nielsen-Norman Group that does an intranet design annual every year. And the last 3 or 4 years, we've had 5 or more of those 10 companies each year recognized to be SharePoint customers for running their intranet. So lots of strength.
Good. Is there anything that you find to be the weakest point of SharePoint, or something that you guys are really striving to improve in the future?
We don't think about it in terms of a weakness, but we do have different areas of the business that are growing at different rates. So SharePoint's been used for team collaboration and document management from the very beginning for versions ago, which is 10 years ago, and continually through that. Social is something that's been newer in more recent releases, so we see that continuing to grow at a fast rate. And that probably the fastest growing aspect of SharePoint today is web content management, using it for your public website. So you have brands like Ferrari, who run Ferrari.com on top of SharePoint, and that's an area that's continuing to grow for us beyond regular enterprise use.
Okay. And how important is the new hosted version of SharePoint 2010 in Office 365?
Oh, it's tremendously important. You expect me to say that. But the reality is, SharePoint is very well adopted in large enterprises. But being in Office 365 is going to give us the opportunity to provide the value of SharePoint, sharing any type of information or document or with other people, to a whole new segment of customers, smaller customers who may have said, well, I want that capability, but I don't really want to run servers on-premise, manage it myself. I may not have a very large IT staff. So now they have the ability to buy that as a service from us and get the value of the collaborative and document capabilities and web management capabilities at the same time, not have to run it themselves. So tremendous value prop we think will bring a lot more customers to the SharePoint platform.
All right. And what will enterprise collaboration technology look like in the next 5 years?
Now that's a big question. Now I think you're going to continue to see convergence. One of the things we started with SharePoint was the notion of document management and portals and collaboration all collapsing, coming together in a single user experience and a single platform IT had to manage. And when we started SharePoint 10 years ago, that was a radical idea. And many companies, they bought separate software products for all of those things. I think you're going to continue to see that trend play out. Certainly, the notion of collaboration as a service is going to be a big change. We really haven't been able to buy that today until we've been in the market with Office 365. And so you'll see not only new customers come there, but you'll see new partners and new opportunities, and new types of applications running in the cloud with Office 365. That'll be a huge growth area. And I think you'll see continued consolidation of the different elements of what we call our business productivity platform. So the future of productivity looks like unified communications, increasingly more integrated with social computing and collaboration and document management. And I think you'll see that trend continue.
How do you see SharePoint specifically mapped to the future, and how much will come from partner integrated solutions such as NewsGator?
Well, SharePoint is in an interesting spot, and one of the things I said on the panel here was we're really the only entrant in the space who's both an application that you can turn on for out-of-the-box value for things like social, with social networking around my sites, and a platform that ISVs really build upon. lots of people like to say we're a platform and we have APIs, but you see companies like NewsGator being very successful building on top of SharePoint, and they're not the only one. So I think as you think about the future, we always aim for what are the mainstream capabilities that the majority of information workers really need as part of their core environment. Those are the things that we tend to build. And then we'll have great ISVs like NewsGator and others, Nudesic, who will say, okay, well, on top of that, there's some advanced needs that we can meet on an audience for customers who've already bought the SharePoint platform. So we'll bring our partners along with us as we grow the business, particularly as we grow the business in the cloud. We're already well established with an on-premise ecosystem, but we'll bring that an ecosystem to the cloud with us over time.
All right. And what does the SharePoint community mean to you?
Yeah, it's really interesting because I think SharePoint is one of those Microsoft products that has a fan following, right? Like some consumer products do. I was just out here in Boston actually a few weeks ago at a SharePoint technology conference, and the community support around it, both customers who use the product, partners who sell and service it, it's just tremendous. I'll give you an example. A few years ago, in the economic downturn, some partners started this notion of SharePoint Saturdays, which was like a free teaching around SharePoint. And they were trying to help people reskill in the downturn to get new jobs around SharePoint or collaboration in general. And a lot of the speakers would come to a conference like this and would be paid, all donated their time pro bono to be at SharePoint Saturdays. I think they started the first one 3 years ago at about 150 people. Now the next one they're going to do in the Washington, D.C. area, and they do them around the country, will be 3,000 people. So it's just a tremendous uplift because you see how many people care about your product. They give you feedback about how good it is. They give you feedback about what you need to do to improve it and change it and add new capabilities for them. But they're passionate about it and they're really building their careers around it. And it's tremendously humbling for us to see that growth of an industry around a product. And the community is just really empowering and invigorating because you connect with people and you come away from a show like this really energized to do more and more.
I'm thinking back to what you spoke about yesterday in your keynote, and it's kind of this idea of a community-centric Think Week. I mean, they all get to bounce ideas off each other and grow off of each other, and especially when they do these weekends. Do you kind of find that the community around SharePoint also evolves the product?
Oh, they absolutely do. Right? I mean, customers are our best source of feedback about what capabilities need to be in the product or how some of the features we have should be experienced by users, how they should be exposed. It's really key. There's a couple things interesting about the thinking piece was just the way you can have different types of applications on top of SharePoint, right? So the ideation piece isn't something that comes out of the box. But when you have it as a platform in your environment, you can say, hey, we have this particular need. We're trying to have people develop ideas. We need some workflow process around the development of those ideas and interaction between subject matter experts and other people. We need a social element where people can come in and rate and comment. And SharePoint has all those capabilities. So it's relatively easy to put those types of applications together to provide real business value.
Good. All right. I had a couple of other questions come up just last night when I was talking to our publisher. One specifically is, how will the Skype acquisition help SharePoint in real-time collaboration? Kind of similarly to things like Yammer and Chatter, what the capabilities that they have. Do you think Skype will help with that?
We're tremendously excited about the Skype acquisition. We think it's going to be great. It's a great business in and of itself, and it brings really a consumer base to our information working products. I think they have over 600 million licenses or something like that, 600 million users. So just a tremendous base. But that acquisition hasn't closed yet, so we're not really talking about what we might do in the future. We're going to wait till it closes and then do joint thing.
Sure. Good. So then connecting back to that Yammer and Chatter, do you see Office 365 competing with something like that, with Yammer and Chatter?
We don't see those competitors.
Okay.
SharePoint's unique in this space.
Sure.
We have 100 million licenses for the on-premise product sold. We have very high expectations for the uptake of the cloud service, both on-premise customers moving to it, and like I mentioned before, customers who don't really have SharePoint deployed today coming to it as a new service, right? Yammer is a small company, doing some interesting stuff in this space for sure, but it's hard to compare what a very small startup does with a large enterprise platform and millions and millions